You know, when a massive international airport drops its financial report, it's way more than just numbers on a page. It's really a health check for the entire global travel industry. It tells a story. And today, we're diving into the report card for one of the world's most critical hubs, Beijing Capital International Airport. So, here's the billion-dollar question. After years of serious turbulence, is this aviation giant finally cleared for takeoff again? Or is it still kind of stuck on the tarmac? Okay, let's get into the numbers and find out what's really going on. All right, so right off the bat, the headline numbers, well, they look really good. It seriously reads like a classic comeback story, with all the key metrics, revenue, profit, and costs, all pointing in exactly the right direction. First up, let's talk revenue. For the first 9 months of 2025, the airport pulled in 4.205 billion RMB. That's a 2.33% bump over the year before. Now, that might not sound like a huge jump, but trust me, in the tough world of aviation, any growth at all is a significant win. It shows passengers are steadily coming back. But hold on. The story gets way better when we look at the bottom line. This number here, minus 48.11%, wow. That shows the reduction in their net loss. They've basically slashed their losses by almost half in just 1 year, bringing the total down to 239 million RMB. That is a massive leap towards breaking even. So, how'd they pull that off? Well, this slide gives us a huge clue. They tightened their belts big time. Operating expenses are down 4.2%. Getting leaner and more efficient while your revenue is ticking up, that is a powerful recipe for a financial comeback. Okay, so we've seen what's happening. The financials are definitely improving. But the really interesting part is the why. What's the tailwind pushing this whole turnaround? Let's pinpoint the real engine behind these numbers. And boom, here it is. This slide just lays it all out perfectly. While the overall passenger growth is a healthy 4.5%, just look at that international number. A staggering 21.3% surge. It is crystal clear that the return of international travelers is the powerhouse pushing this airport forward. So what's behind this sudden international boom? Well, the answer is simple: policy. China went all in, expanding its visa-free travel program, which now covers 45 countries all the way through the end of 2026. And the impact? It was immediate and it was dramatic. A 130% jump in foreign arrivals. Get this, over 70% of those visitors came in without a visa. But, it's never that simple, right? Just like any flight, there's always the risk of some turbulence. And for Beijing Capital, this comeback story is not a straight line up. There are some serious challenges on the ground that make the picture a lot more complicated. One of the biggest issues is something called domestic aviation overcapacity. Basically, it's a classic supply and demand problem. There are just way too many planes and way too many empty seats for the number of people flying domestically. That forces airlines to slash ticket prices, which hurts their bottom line, and ultimately the airports. And the headwinds don't stop there. China's world-class high-speed rail network is a fierce competitor. On top of that, you've got a heavy load of debt, some partner airlines are flying older planes, and there's even pressure on their advertising income from new media. It's a real multi-front battle. And to put that debt into perspective, just look at this number. The airport's debt-to-equity ratio is sitting at a very high 76.6%. That's a real, concrete measure of the financial pressure management is under. It makes every single decision about spending and investing absolutely crucial. So, when you're facing all those headwinds, what's your flight plan? Let's take a look at the actual strategies management is using to navigate this tricky environment and steer the airport back toward profitability. So first things first, they have to get their balance sheet in order. To handle all that debt and make sure there's enough cash for operations and future projects, the airport is actively out there raising new capital from the financial markets. And this isn't just some vague idea, they're already doing it. They recently issued 1.5 billion RMB in notes, and they have plans for billions more. The goal here is pretty smart. They want to refinance that older, more expensive debt and spread out their payments over a longer period. It just gives them more breathing room. Beyond the financial maneuvering, they're focusing hard on what they can control, the customer experience. They've launched 16 new service initiatives across these 5 key areas. We're talking about everything from adding new flight routes, to improving baggage handling, to seriously upgrading the shopping and dining options. The goal is to make the airport a place you actually want to be. So we've seen the tailwinds pushing them forward and the turbulence holding them back. We've looked at their flight plan, and that brings us to our final section, weighing all these competing forces to figure out if the airport's ultimate destination is a return to profitability. This slide really just captures the whole story. It's a total balancing act. On one side, you have these powerful recovery forces, that surge in international travel, helpful government policies, and smart cost-cutting. But on the other side, you have those persistent headwinds, domestic competition, and that huge debt load. The airport's future literally hangs in this balance. So, what do the experts think? Well, the consensus among financial analysts is actually pretty optimistic. They're forecasting a full-on return to profitability by 2026, fueled by strong and steady revenue growth of around 9 to 10% a year. It looks like they believe the tailwinds will ultimately overpower the turbulence. And that leaves us with the final question. The flight path is set, and the destination is clear. But with so many variables still up in the air, can the airport successfully navigate the rest of this turbulence and land smoothly back in the black by 2026? Only time will tell.